What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Chris, and today we're going to be looking at some more Orna guides for 2025. Today, we're going to be covering the Realm Shifter class. If you guys haven't played this one, it's actually a lot of fun. I put this one off for a little while, but I really enjoy this class. Thief class has always been an interest of mine. The only thing I wish is that they had done some more archery bases on this, but it's always fun being able to do lots of damage and dodge everything. So guys, we're going to jump right in. As you can tell, we're level 237. We're going to be running a Realm Shifter Raider combination for this. I'll dive into some other things with it, but let's take a quick look into the class itself. As you can see, the Nyx is your base class. We're going to be getting a lot of attack, a lot of dexterity, some more health. Honestly, we're getting a ton there. We're also getting 2 more skill slots, which is going to be amazing for you. Jumping right in, guys, you got Swordy, Realm Strikes. These are your go-to. These are your high damage spells. I am personally a big fan of Realm Strikes. Huge crit chance. Going to do tons of damage for you with the right build. Looking down later, you're also going to get into Realm Shift and Blood Shift. Realm Shift is really fun for temporary buffs, and I really love this on my Summoner, by the way, because I can spread lots of buffs. Blood Shift is going to make you no longer heal, sit at low health, but also acts as a channel buff. You're going to look here, Resurgence, so we're going to want a red line. That's why you don't want to heal, by the way. You want to keep that damage high. You're also going to not take damage from your self-imposed buffs, which means we can throw up things like Berserk, Berserk 2, Berserk 3, and we're not going to take the steady damage from it. We just have to have enough ward to offset everything, keep that health nice and low. And worst case, if you do heal up when Blood Shift fills up, guess what? You're still going to go right back down. You just have to offset this with ward, so I cannot stress enough. You're going to learn to live on the edge. Taking a look here, guys, this is why I run the Raider. Extra 20% attack, I get some defense, some rest. Yeah, there's a big health drop, but your other option is to run the Assassin class. More dexterity means more dodging, more crit chance. A little bit of attack, somewhat helpful. You're also going to be able to land debuffs on your enemy a little bit more, and you're going to have some health that's going to help you there. So these are always good things to have on hand. I really recommend this. More of a PvP, but it's not a bad PvE build either, guys. So Assassin and Raider, definitely your top 2 choices. Another option is to always run the Charmer. The buffs are okay. You know, it's nice to have them. We can cover this under any other thing. What you're really aiming for is the lull. The lull is going to make things a lot easier not to get hit. All right, guys, here's a quick look at the stats. As you can tell, this one is a higher crit build. I'm at 62%. The goal is to get to 100% crit, so the Realm Strikes is always doing its damage, replenishing my health, mana, and ward. With that, it's got a 20% base, plus we get a 20% from Worm Song. So altogether, that's 100% with a 60% crit rate. There are different ways to build that. You do not have to focus on just a crit build. This is just the most fun for me because I can drop damage like crazy. And it's really fun to see the screen light up with 200,000 plus, 4 and 5 times in a row. I'm definitely running some ward. I would prefer a little bit more on this build, but it tends to work out just fine for damage. Looking at the pet, I usually will run a Stewart Golem for raids. This makes it easy because I get some blocking. I don't have to focus on ward anymore. My only job is to get Divine Bastion up, and then I'm going to focus on doing damage because my ward is already covered. You're also going to get Prism Wall for free. We already have an innate resistance to Holy and Dark, so this is going to cover your other elements. Frees up a couple things for me to deal with. So definitely not a bad one to look into. Looking at the spells here, you can see it's pretty straightforward. I have Ortonite, I've got Baylor if I need it. Realm Shift for the temporary buff, Divine Bastion. We're going to run Blood Shift, Realm Strikes. We've got Wyvern Speed. We've got Mimic's Mischief because I like having the magic buff. Don't really know why, just makes me feel better. Gate of Gunner. We've got Channel. And we've got Golem's Fortitude. And of course, we've got Worm Song so that we have the extra crit. There's different ways you can do this, and I will tell you your biggest weakness is going to be getting debuffed by the enemy. So it doesn't hurt to have Cures up. Sometimes that's a good choice. If you prefer Bear's Might, perfect. Really, your goal is just to get these buffs up, and then we're going to Panacea right after that, take off any debuffs we may have, keep our temporary buffs up. We're going to do damage. That's literally our only thing. So Realm Strikes is huge for that. Every now and then, things like the Holy Strike is going to be really helpful. Purifying Strikes can be good. Different ways to do it. Looking at the gear, I am definitely going to run the Realm Spikes. A huge crit chance. You can also get the Brilliant Feathers later on, and that one comes in really handy because you also get faction buff to it. So that's an easy one to get a hold of. Looking at the Kala Dynasty and the Clogs, these are really good. As you can see, this is another way you can kind of build it. If you want to go less crit, go for that one-hander, go for the shield. This is more of a ward build. This drops me down to 35, so with buffs, I'm still under 100%, but I can hold my own. It does make a vast difference on that ward, so that's more turns I can take, right? Looking at your accessories, you're going to want to block any kind of debuffs. So the Briny Pendant's really good. The Ring of Anwin's really good. Focus on your ward, focus on your crit for everything else. For the amenity, I am personally running Refuge and Smoke, but anything that's going to up your crit is going to help there. All right, guys. With that being said, we're going to dive right into a raid. I'm going to show you how we're going to run this. Everything's pretty straightforward. Go into your buff cycle, make sure that everything is set. This is going to be a longer fight, obviously because of her health, but it's really easy. You're going to notice a couple of times I'm going to run through the fight, and there's going to be times where I have to use my physical attack to restore my mana, and that's because I didn't crit or I missed. That is your one downside with Realm Strikes, is it's not always going to hit the enemy. So you may have to adjust a little bit. You're still going to do plenty of damage with that attack, though. So don't think that this is a bad thing by any means. Taking a look here, you can see that the Stewart Golem is doing an excellent job about keeping my wards up for me, so I don't really even have to focus on it. We're going to redline, and then we are going to keep everything running. The goal is to have Blood Shift up and DC so that I can do all the damage. And you can see it's just massive hits every time. With Bastion, my ward's going to take all the damage. So I'm just focusing on pure damage at this point. There are some other pets that you can run for this, and there's different theories as to why those are good. Could you put out more damage with another pet? Probably. But do you have to focus on ward at that point? Yep. And that's always an issue. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at some other things here. So this is kind of a different build to this. A lot of people have asked, what kind of pets would you run? So this is the Arisen Blood Ward. Really good one. You're going to get a crit buff. You're going to get tons of temporary critical out of this. Pet itself, damage is decent. Chimera is another excellent build for this. Free Berserk, decent damage and accuracy. The accuracy will help with some of those misses. So this is definitely a good option. You can also run the Ashen Phoenix. If you don't have this pet, it has free channels. It has a pretty good turn rate, so it's not 100%, but it is an option for this. Fey Yeti is a good replacement for Stewart Golem. This is going to give you Prism Wall. We're also going to get Inferno and Storm Facade, which are 100% immunities for a short time. Decent damage output. Still has a protect chance, but Stewart Golem's going to outdo it. We're going to jump right in here, guys. I told you earlier that there are some spells you got to watch out for. Bleeding is the big one. There's not really a good way to get rid of this except use Cure Bleed. If you're at 1 health, 1 tick is going to kill you, and you will take damage from it. And there's not a good immunity for it. All right, guys. One of my favorite ones is that Horde dungeons are always slow on this class. It's not exactly true. We're just going to run a build called the Realm Ranger. All we're going to do is take the Ranger specialty. As you can see, that's going to open up Aerostorm for us. Aerostorm's an important one. It can't crit. Therefore, we do not need to worry about a crit build. Go for your highest damage. Go for your highest ward. I want to take damage for it. I want to be able to spray things. I have basically become a cactus. This is a good one because you can run the cactus with this and in theory throw out more damage, but it is something you got to keep an eye on. I did just a short showing for you here, but the damage is easy to calculate. It's going to spread out between everything. It's very easy to keep this damage going. I really recommend you look into this class, guys. It is super fun and it's great for raids, especially if you're doing party. You're going to do some damage. You can throw out big numbers, and realistically, when you start unlocking Celestials and Ascension classes, tons of damage is going to come out of this class. It is a little bit gear dependent in my opinion, and you have to really pay attention and get comfortable with a red line on your screen the entire time and knowing you will die. But good class overall. All right, guys, I hope y'all had a good time. I look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a good day.